This is Musings of the Shibe podcast. I'm your host, Roja Shibe.
Hello again, this is Roja Shibe with another episode of Musings of the podcast. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the New York Consensus Proposal, or otherwise known as SegWit 2X. This is episode 137. This time is going to work. And yeah, we're going to get into it, but basically, this is another episode of the ongoing series that we've been discussing about the block size debate within Bitcoin. Even though we have not yet discussed SegWit, this has to deal with SegWit, this proposal. And so we're going to talk about what the proposal is, who's made these agreements, a little bit about SegWit 2X, and whether or not this proposal is actually going to work or if it's going to crumble, if you will. But before we get into any of that discussion, the news. So, altcoin created by BitTorrent's Conan to combat Bitcoin flaws by William Serberg. This comes from the Coin Telegraph. So, BitTorrent's founder, Bram Cohen, has said he wants to create a storage-based cryptocurrency to combat centralization in Bitcoin mining. The veteran tech entrepreneur told Torrent Freak that the new currency is required to tackle what the publication describes as Bitcoin flaws. He says, my proposal isn't really to do something to Bitcoin. It really has to be a new currency. I'm going to make a cryptocurrency company, and that's my plan. While the exact details are still forthcoming, Cohen apparently intends to use a proof of capacity, or POC algorithm, to reduce mining expenditure. Bitcoin, by contrast, uses a proof of work algorithm. Currencies that use POC rely on stored data banks to verify blocks, which reduces the energy load required to run the network considerably on the miner's end. Another benefit of storage-based things is actually there's a lot less centralization in mining. There's a lot less concern about having a 51% attack, he says. Cohen is a fair few stages behind fellow tech mogul Kim.com in his entry into the cryptocurrency realm. The latter having already demonstrated the latest incarnation of his mega upload file sharing site. Incorporating a Bitcoin-based content distributed system called Zcash, the project makes direct use of the Bitcoin wallet to allow content creators to receive payments for the material they publish. In preparation for Bitcoin's latest rival, meanwhile, Conan says he will shortly begin spending all his time in development. In the next few months, I'm going to devote myself full-time to the cryptocurrency stuff, he said. So, again, another altcoin coming into existence because of the flaws or problems or perceived problems with Bitcoin. Blockchain incubator building collaborative environment to attract talented developers. This again is another Cointelegraph article. Building a strong ecosystem. For startup incubating starts with foundation of integrity, diversity, and collaboration. A philosophy of integrity satisfies the authorities while attracting mainstream players with the capital to bootstrap project development. A collaborative environment is formed to attract talented individuals who are motivated to work together and create a viable product. This framework retains talent and rewards expertise. The ecosystem and community. The computing age of the internet has enabled new technologies thanks to the passions and commitment of volunteers. Linux has been a big success in the open source arena with a 66% market share in the web-based servers and 99.79% in the supercomputers. The SourceForge repository showcases over 430,000 open source projects. Decentralized development has fueled many of these projects, including blockchain technology. Decentralized code development provides the framework for the fast and efficient project execution. Traditional approaches to the project management and leadership still need to be maintained. Hardworking developers have the motivation to succeed while at the same time enjoy flexibility in their schedule and workspace. Where the ecosystem has a whole community that works together, each participant has a devoted motivation for the project to grow from infancy to maturity and ideal sustainability. Employment opportunities and blockchain incubation. Blockchain Incubator Able Ecosystem Limited is revolutionizing the blockchain incubating process by offering employment opportunities to community members. By having members participate in ideal development through to project execution, each participant has a vested interest in ensuring success. They have a personal and financial interest in their growth. The unsung benefit becomes the vast employment opportunities for the members across multiple projects. In addition, knowledge and lessons learned on one project can then be utilized in the future incentives. Systematic business planning creates its own efficiencies. And Gabriel Dussel, an Able co-founder, comments, we think that the employment is a unique benefit of our ecosystem. The members have a vested interest in wanting their projects to be successful, and it's their baby. They invested their hearts, minds, and money in the initiative, and we feel this is the magic formula behind what we are creating. Collaborative environment for the blockchain incubation offers its members a central platform from which to incubate ideas. Funding options need the flexibility to accommodate both a wider consensus and a narrow one. There needs to be a pool of experts who know how to build a business, mitigate weaknesses, and maximize revenue potential. Furthermore, the open nature of blockchain requires transparencies in various activities of the community, such as voting, key performance metrics, and project and collaboration. So that's interesting. I think we need more such activities in that space, whether this project is successful or another one is. And these last two articles, I'll just have a link in the show notes. One is about Ross Ulbricht as she reflects on her son's double life sentence. It's from Bitcoin.com. And then the Bank of Canada decides it's too early to adopt blockchain technology. So another banking system that's rejecting, quite frankly, the incoming financial system, if you will. And that is it for the news. On to the New York Consensus Proposal, or the SegWit 2.x proposal, or the Barry Silbert proposal. We'll talk about the naming in a moment, but on to the rest of the episode. So what is the proposal? Okay, so there was a conference that took place in New York. It was called the Consensus Conference. And at this conference, there was a confab, and almost a secret meeting, if you will, of all these different Bitcoin and mining companies coming together to address the Bitcoin block size issue. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. It happened a couple years ago with the Hong Kong Agreement, which failed. Now there's just another attempt to do this, but at the same time, Bitcoin Core didn't really participate in this agreement at all. In fact, they were invited and rejected the invitation. So out of this conference and out of these meetings of these different companies came this proposal. It's known as the Barry Silbert proposal. He is in charge of the digital currency group, which is he also is part of Coinbase. Is what he's known for. It's also called the SegWit 2X, which because it is a proposal that will enact BIP 141 SegWit, as well as 6 months after the activation of SegWit to 2 megabyte hard fork. It's also called the New York Consensus. So these are the three names. They're interchangeable. They're basically, depending on a person's position, you will hear someone refer to the proposal as such. The technical aspect, you can say, is SegWit 2X because it's SegWit plus a 2 megabyte increase. If they're referring to the Barry Silbert agreement, it's because they're probably being disparaging. It's also referred to as the New York Consensus Agreement, which is more of a kind of a news media term, if you will. So what is the agreement? So this was published by the Digital Currency Group, came out May 23rd. So Bitcoin Scaling Agreement at Consensus, May 23rd, 2017. We agreed to immediately support the following parallel upgrades to the Bitcoin protocol, which will be deployed simultaneously and based on the original SegWit 2 megabyte proposal. Activating SegWit witness at 80% threshold, signaling a bit 4, and activate a 2 megabyte hard fork within 6 months. We'll read the SegWit 2 megabyte proposal after this. We're also committed to the research and development of technical mechanisms to improve signaling in the Bitcoin community, as well as to put in place communication tools in order to more closely coordinate with the ecosystem participants in the design, integration, and deployment of safe solutions that increase Bitcoin capacity. We welcome all companies, miners, developers, and users to join us and help prepare Bitcoin for the future. The group of assigned companies represent a critical mass of Bitcoin ecosystem. As of May 25th, the group represents 58 companies located in 22 countries, 83.28% of the hashing power, which, side note, if Bitcoin XT were implemented, it's at 75%, and Bitcoin Classic, the same way, is like 80% hashing power. So if you were, change the consensus rules, instead of BIP 91 where you have to have 95%, they've actually achieved that goal, if you will. 5.1 billion USD monthly on the chain transaction volume and 20.5 million Bitcoin wallets. Separately, as of May 24th, the following companies have committed to provide technical and engineering support to test and support the upgrade software, as well as assist companies preparing for the upgrades. That's Arbor, Bitcoin Club Network, Bitcoin.com, Bitfury, BitGo, Bitmain, BitPay, Blockchain, Block, BLOQ, BTCC, Circle, Ledger, Risk Labs, and Zappo. If you wish to dedicate technical and engineering support from our team, please let us know and we'll include you in the list above. So here's a list of supporters as of May 25th. So 1Hash, which is in China, Arbor, United States, Annex, Hong Kong, bitangel.com/Chandler Gu, China, BitClub Network, Hong Kong, Bitcoin.com, which is in St. Kitts and Nevis, BitX, Argentina, Bitflyer, Japan, Bitfury, United States, Bitmain, China, BitPay, United States, BitPesa is Kenya, BitOasis, United Arab Emirates, BitSo, Mexico, Bitwalla, Germany, BitNX, China, Blockchain, UK, Block, which is United States, BTC.com, China, BTC, China, BTC Top, China, BTR, China, Circle, United States, Civic, United States, Coinbase, United States, Coins, PH, which is the Philippines, Crypto Facilities, UK, Decentral, Canada, the Digital Currency Group, United States, FT Pool, China, Filament, United States, Gavin Andreessen, Genesis Global Trading, Genesis Mining is Hong Kong, the other two are United States, GoCoin, Isle of Mains, Grayscale Investment, United States, Guycorm, Israel, Jax, Canada, Corbett, South Korea, Bruno, Singapore, Money, Finland, Nix, United States, OB1, United States, Purse, United States, Ripple, Argentina, Safo, Sweden, SFX, United States, Shapeshift, Switzerland, Assure, BTC, Chile, Unicon, India, Valtora, Germany, VM, United States, VI, BTC, China, Wallenix, Argentina, Zappo, United States, and yours, United States. Note, Bitcoin Go was not included in the initial publishing list. They have since been corrected. So, those are the individuals and companies as well, or one individual, but the companies, mining companies, big companies, exchanges that support this agreement. So what is this agreement? This was published by Sergio Demoliner. It's called SegWit 2 Megabyte, a combined soft/hard fork request for comments. Published Friday, March 31st, 9 o'clock UTC time of this year. So hi everyone. The SegWit 2 Megabyte is a project to merge into the Bitcoin and minimal patch that aims to untangle the current conflict between the different political positions regarding SegWit activation versus the increase of the on-chain blockchain space through a standard block size increase. It is not a new solution, but it should be seen more as at least a common denominator. SegWit 2 Megabyte combines SegWit as it is today in Bitcoin 0.4 plus with a 2 megabyte block size hard fork activation only if SegWit activates 95% of the miners signaling, but at a fixed future date. So in order to get that hard fork, you still need to have 95% of the miners signaling. The sole objective of the proposal is to reunite the Bitcoin community and avoid a cryptocurrency split. SegWit 2X does not aim to be the best possible technical solution to solve Bitcoin's technical limitations. However, this proposal does not imply a compromise to the future scalability or decentralization of Bitcoin, as a small increase in the block size has been proven by several core and non-core developers not to affect Bitcoin's value proposition. So, increasing the block size doesn't change the value of Bitcoin. In the worst case, a 2x block size increase has a much lower economic impact than the last Bitcoin halving, which was greater than 10%, which succeeded without problem. On the other side, the SegWit 2 Megabyte primary goal is to be minimalistic. In this patch, some choices have been made to reduce the number of lines modified in the current Bitcoin core state, the master branch. Instead of implementing the most elegant solution, this is because I want to reduce the time it takes for core programmers and reviewers to check the correctness of the code and report to incorrect bugs. The patch was built by forking the master branch of the Bitcoin core, mixing a few lines of code from Jeff Karzik's BIP102, and defining a second version BIP's activation bit, or BIP2 for the combined activation. The combined activation of SegWit and 2 megabyte hard fork version bit is to deploy SegWit and 2 megabyte blocks. It means that the SegWit will still be active without the 2 megabyte hard fork by signaling bit 1 in the version or deployment of SegWit. So basically, and we're going to talk about this in episode Nasan in a little bit here, but they can get SegWit, but that doesn't mean that there will be a 2 megabyte increase, because they can have the SegWit, but the hard forking might not occur. The tentative lock in the hard fork dates are the following. Bit signals start time April 29th, 2017. Bit 2 signaling timeout August 29th, 2017. Hard fork time is December 14th, 2017. The hard fork is conditional to 95% of the hashing power and has approved the SegWit 2 megabyte soft fork, and the SegWit soft fork has been activated, which should occur 2016 blocks after its lock-in time. For more information how soft forks are signaled and activated, see BIP 009. That means the SegWit will be activated before the 2 megabytes. This is inevitable as Vision bits have been designed to have fixed activation periods and thresholds for bits. Making SegWit and 2 megabyte fork activated together at the delayed date would have required a major rewrite of this code, which would have contradicted the premise of creating a minimalistic patch. However, once SegWit is activated, the hard fork is unavoidable. Although I've coded the first version of the SegWit 2 megabyte patch, which modifies 120 lines of code and adds 220 lines of testing code, I prefer to wait to publish the source code until more comments have been received from the community. And this is where the contention is, because a lot of this is being developed and it's kind of hidden, and a lot of people haven't seen the code, and it's we're recording this as of June 25th, and no one has seen anything, and we're supposed to have a user-activated soft fork August 1st. And they've already signaled as of June 19th that they want, the miners have made an agreement, the Chinese miners have made an agreement that they're going to go for this proposal, even though the code hasn't been released. So they have already signaled blocks that they want SegWit. And so, yeah. Regarding the hard fork activation date, I want to give enough time to all active economic nodes to upgrade. As of Friday, March 31st, 2017, and they use BitNodes 21 Co., reports that 6,332 out of the 6,995 nodes, 91%, have upgraded to post 0.112 version. Upgrade to post 0.12 version can be used to identify economic active nodes. Because in the 0.12 release dynamic fees were introduced, and currently no Bitcoin automatic pay system can operate without an automatic discovery of the current fee rate. A pre-0.12 node would require constant manual intervention. Therefore, I conclude that no more than 91% of the network nodes reported by BitNodes are active economic nodes. And if you want a review of that company, 21 Co., you can listen to Hiroji's Thought Bubble, because I reviewed their company. The Bitcoin Core 012 was released on February 2016. The time of this 91% to upgrade has been around 1 year, under moderate pressure of operational problems with unconfirmed transactions. Therefore, we can expect a similar or lower time to upgrade for a hard fork after the developers have discussed and approached the patch, and has been reviewed and merged, and 95% of the hashing power is signaled for it. The pressure not to upgrade being completely halted of the operations. However, I suggest that we discuss the hard fork date and delay it if there is a real need to. Currently, time works against the Bitcoin community, and so in delaying a compromise solution, most of the community agree that halting innovation for several years is a very bad option. After the comments collected by the community, a bit will be written describing the result proposal details. If SegWit 2 megabyte lock-in before hard fork occurs, all Bitcoin nodes should be updated to a SegWit 2 megabyte enabled node to prevent them to be forked away in a chain with almost no hashing power. The proof of concept patch was made for Bitcoin Core, but should be easily ported to other Bitcoin Core protocol implementations that already support version bits. A lightweight SPV wallet should not be affected, as they generally do not check the block size. I personally want to see Lightning Network in action this year, use the non-malleability feature in SegWit, see the community discussing other exciting soft forks in the scaling roadmap, shortener signatures, drive chains, and MOASP. I want to see miners, developers, and industry side by side pushing Bitcoin forward to increase the value of Bitcoin and prevent high transaction fees, to put it out of the business use case that would have high positive social impact. I believe in the strength of a unified Bitcoin community, and if you are a developer, please give your opinion, suggesting changes, and audit, and take a stand with me to unlock the current Bitcoin deadlock. Contributions to the SegWit 2 megabyte project were welcomed and weighted. The only limitation is to stick to the principle that the patch should be as simple to audit as possible. An example, I wouldn't feel confident if the patch modified more than 150 lines of code. Improvements unrelated to the 2 megabyte increase are SegWit, as beneficial as it may be to Bitcoin, should not be part of SegWit 2 megabyte. The proposal should not prevent other consensus proposals to be simultaneously merged. SegWit 2 megabyte is a last resort solution in case we cannot reach consensus on anything better. Again, this proposal is only a starting point, and community feedback is expected and welcome. Regards, Sergio Demon Linear. So that is the proposal. There's another thing that came out. We'll touch on a little bit on Nasan, which is talking about people that have kind of rejected the SegWit 2X, and even to some extent the user-activated soft fork, but it's called Compatibility-Oriented Omnibus Proposal. I have a link in the show notes. I wanted more time with it because there hasn't really been much discussion about this, but I do know that Bitcoin Core in and of itself has rejected the SegWit 2X compromise, which makes things difficult because they are actually not working on the code in itself. The code in itself hasn't been released as of June 25th. The people that are participating is really kind of closed, even though you can look at the GitHub and stuff. People that have been asked to participate, if they disagree with it, can't comment or test it or review it or anything like that, versus what's going on with Bitcoin Core, where you can do that, and other proposals. So it's still very contentious. And even if things get locked in as it has, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And there could still be a split, even though there's a seek to prevent the split from happening. So I put a link in the show notes to Ricardo Spangi, who says that Consensus 2017 was full of scammers. You know, there's people that are very much against it. We'll talk about it in NASAN. There are many people that, because of the hidden nature of the code, because it's coming from a core group of people and it's not really decentralized in a sense, and even Bitcoin Core has this dilemma where you're not having as much input from all members of the community, whether it be node users, different businesses, small, big. They seem to have a lot of people on board, but the whole purpose of Bitcoin in and of itself is no one group or not even a group of people has complete control of the protocol. And it seems that this is the push right here, is to get some type of control of the protocol, if you will. And it remains to be seen. We'll talk about this also in NASAN, but doomsday of the scenario of the split. I don't think the split is a very negative thing. But we'll get there when we talk about it in Doomsday. But this is the proposal. This is what's going on. This is what, when we talk about SegWit 2x and user-activated soft fork, when we talk about SegWit, which we'll spend a week on doing, this is the new proposal to address the issues that are going on within the Bitcoin currency and the blockchain space. Mind you, Litecoin has already activated SegWit on its chain, so there is a test case of it to see the usage of SegWit, but it's only been, I would say, 6 weeks SegWit has been on Litechain, so it remains to be seen if there's any issues or attacks. There's a big concern about spendability, where people can take people's transactions through the usage of SegWit. That it's very technical, and I have to kind of really break it down and try to wrap my head around it. But there's some people that believe that SegWit is not as secure as the current consensus protocol for Bitcoin, or even previously to that, to Litecoin. So, but that's it for the episode. I just want to kind of touch what the proposal is, all the different companies that are part of it, so you have an understanding and knowing that this is going on, this is what's happening, and has that 80% mining hashing power behind it. So it has a lot of pull to it, and if you're against it, if you're for user-activated soft fork, or just against both in general, you would have to somehow manage to get enough hashing power to counter it to where it can't be deployable. It has to be, you have to knock that thing down to 75% or something like that to prevent it from being active and maintain that hashing power for a while. Or if there is a split, to be able to split and have a viable chain. But we'll address those issues and scenarios as we go forward, primarily mostly in Doomsday. So thank you very much for listening, and to the moon.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and review either through iTunes or Stitchers or any of the podcasting apps that you're currently using to listen to this show. Thank you, and until next time. This has been a Hiroshi Shai Space Odyssey Network production.